Hi, Matt Perker here again. Today we're going to be talking about the espresso parameters of dose and yield. So that's the amount of coffee that goes in the brewing chamber and the amount of water that comes into our cup as espresso. So with this machine, it might feel as though you don't have complete control over something like you would as a barista, but you do. You just need to know what to measure and how. Now, when we're calibrating our espresso recipe in the products and keys menu, we have two different things that we can test. When we're adjusting the cake thickness here, you'll see a button appears that says powder test. Now this will make the grinder grind the amount of coffee it thinks it would for a recipe, this particular recipe, and then we can actually weigh that on a set of scales quite simply. So what we're going to do is pull out the knockbox. We're going to put it on a set of scales, tear those scales off, slide the knockbox back in. Then we're going to select powder test from the menu and the grinder will turn on. Now what we'll be able to do is pull this tray back out and weigh it on the set of scales to see how many grams of coffee we're getting. So here we have 18.9 grams of coffee. So our 22 millimeters in the brewing chamber doesn't mean it's 22 grams, again, because different coffees have different densities. So in this case, 22 millimeters of coffee in the chamber weighs 18.9 grams. You can do this a few times if you want to be very precise and make sure that you're getting the right numbers. This is really handy for calculating things like cost of goods in a venue to make sure that you're not using too much coffee for each beverage. So once we've done that, we can now measure the amount of water that we're dispensing through the coffee to create our espresso. Now to do that, we can use a cup on the same set of scales and place it underneath our spouts. We're going to tear the cup and we're going to move the menu to water quantity instead. And you'll see this button now says Learn Water. What's going to happen here is I'll press the button and it's going to perform the recipe, and I'm going to press stop just before the scale reads the amount of espresso that I would like to see in the cup. Now because we have about 19 grams of coffee in the chamber, I want to see 38 grams of espresso in the cup. So here we go. I'll press Learn Water. The machine's grinding. Brewing chamber underneath the grinder. It's going to stop grinding, move forwards. Now the tamper is going to be pressing down. That's that noise you can hear now. Pre-infusion has begun. Now we're going into the relaxed time. Now we're going into the brewing. So I'm going to watch that scale intently, and I'm going to press stop, that same button, when the scale reads about 35 grams. Okay, now I pressed that button a few grams before the actual target because there's still some espresso that's yet to come down into the cup. I'm a little bit shy, but because of that last final squishing of the coffee before the puck is released, we went up to about 40 grams. So we're right on target. Now, what's happened now is the machine has recognized that we only wanted 82 ticks. So if we were 1 or 2 grams above what we wanted, as we were just then, we could reduce our ticks by 2. And now we know that the next espresso we make is going to be roughly 38 grams in the cup. Now what might happen when you do this Learn Water function is your shot time might be a little bit different because you used more water than you had calibrated before or less. Once you've done this, you can go into that ETC menu, press Calibrate again, and it's going to make sure that the recipe is perfect for you. So that's how you can use the Cameo machine to replicate the same variables and methods that you would use on a regular semi-automatic espresso machine.